Janpadas and Mahajanpadas started growing in 600 BC. Earlier, there were villages and small towns. Yeah. Now we talk of the next heading called society. Society was divided into four distinct groups or varnas: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. The Brahmins performed religious functions and sacrifices. The Kshatriyas were warriors and fought wars. The Vaishyas cultivated and tilled the land, and the Shudras served the three upper classes. Apart from these, there was a fifth group, the untouchables. They were required to perform unclean jobs. Now, basically, in those times, the society was divided into four groups, and they were the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. So now, when we talk of the Brahmins, it was the Brahmins. They were the priest class. They performed the functions which were more pertaining to the religious matters and were basically the sacrifices and rituals. Then Kshatriyas were the warriors. They took up and fought wars. Vaishyas were the ones who looked after the land. They tilted the land. They were basically agriculturists. And then came the last one, the Shudras. They did all the jobs. They were the lowest in the order and did all the jobs for the other three castes. Then there was a fifth group which was called untouchables. That means they should not be touched. Why? Because they were doing the low jobs like cleaning and washing, etc. So they were looked down upon by the other four, by the other three rather. Now we come on to the next heading, trade. The king Bimbisara had built a network of roads and bridges. This helped in increasing trade. Besides road, trade was carried through rivers too. Sopara and Broch were important seaports. The main articles of trade were silk, muslin, perfume, and ivory. Please underline King Bimbisara. It was during his reign, he was the king of the Magadha Empire. It was during his reign that the network of roads and bridges were made. That this helped in increasing the trade and commerce of the place, since people could come easily and buy and sell their goods. The transaction of trade and commerce happened, so it made Magad very powerful. Now the important seaports are, please underline Sopara and Broch. Then underline the articles which were used for trade and commerce. Silk was traded. Muslin is a kind of a satin cloth. Okay. Then perfume and ivory. What is ivory? It is the elephant tusk. हाथी के दांत से बनी हुई jewelry is called ivory. Okay. Next. Till this time, trade had been carried through barter. Now, since there was no currency at that time, the trade was done through barter. Barter means when you sell goods by buying another type of good which you don't have. Now, supposing I was a pottery maker, so I sold my pottery, and in return, supposing I wanted to take grains, I would go to a farmer, give my pottery to him, and in return of the pottery, instead of getting the cash, I could take the grains. So now that is known as barter system. With the introduction of silver, copper, punched mark coins, trade got a boost. Now, so the barter system, which was earlier prevalent, now started with punched mark coins. That means the coins and the currency was introduced in Magad for the first time, and the coins were made of two metals. Please underline them: silver and copper. punched mark coins. Next we talk of religion. Brahmins had become very powerful by this time. They were expected to study and teach the Vedas. They assisted the king in religious ceremonies. The system gradually became rigid. People were looking for a religion which was simple and gave them equal opportunities. Set the popularity of two religious sects, Buddhism and Jainism. So now we know that the Brahmins became powerful by this time. We know that the Brahmins became powerful and they had all in all been performing the rituals. So the other Varna system, that means the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, gradually this caste system became very rigid. Okay, and because of this rigidity, people found it very difficult. So they found that emerging of new religion was taking place, and those two new religion were Buddhism and Jainism. It was during this time that Buddhism and Jainism were introduced. Buddhism was led by Gautam Buddha,
Excuse me, ma'am.
and Jainism was led by Mahavira. Yes, yes, Prapti. What do you want? Ask.
Ma'am, I just want to say, please speak louder. I can't able to hear your voice.
Tell I'm shouting. What to do? Is this problem faced by all? Now is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
O-
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Changes in agriculture. Agriculture was the main occupation. The use of iron helped in surplus production. Iron plowshare replaced the wooden one. Now, because of the use of iron, iron was present in Magad in huge quantity. So the iron tools were replaced by the old stone tools, and this helped in increasing the production. Then transportation of paddy also began to increase its production. Now, paddy plants, that means the rice plants, the good seeds were placed and the bad ones were replaced. This also increased the food production. Generally, the dasas and dasis and landless agriculturists worked on the fields. So it was the das and the dasi plus the landless agriculturists who work on the fields for these other three castes. More and more lands were cultivated which could support a large population. So now more and more land was put under cultivation. Instead of forests, the land was used for cultivation now. The people made earthen pots. Some were grey and some red in color. One special kind of pottery made at this time was painted greyware. Please underline painted greyware, PGW. Now, there were variety of potteries. Some were in grey, some were in red, and then a new kind of a pottery was introduced. It was painted greyware. As the name suggests, clay pots had painted designs, usually simple lines and geometrical patterns. Now, from this page, put a tick mark on the coins picture, the punch mark silver coins, then coins with marks of an elephant, sun, etc. These two pictures you'll do. Then come on to painted greyware pottery. Put a tick mark on this. Even this you will do. So these are the three drawings that you'll draw along with the map which I told you. Now case study. The Vaji Confederacy. Vaji was a Mahajanpada of ancient India. Its capital was Vaishali. Underline Vaishali. Vaji was one of the Mahajanpada and the capital was Vaishali. It was one of the world's first democracies. The Vaji were a group of many clans. Among them, Lichavis, Mallas, Sakyas were the most powerful. Around 600 BC, the Lichavis were disciples of Lord Mahavira, but later on shifted to Buddhism. So now they are telling you that Vaji was a big Mahajanpada and it had number of tribes or clans who were clubbed in together. Now they followed the democratic form of government where the head was appointed by the common people. Now it was one of very powerful, and the other clans which were included in in Vaji were the Lachavis, the Mallas, and the Sakyas. Now, out of these, they are talking that Lachavis were the ones who were the followers of Mahavira. That means they followed Jainism, but gradually from Jainism they shifted to Buddhism. Vaji's particular name was Vaji Sangha, which consisted of several Janpadamas and Goshthas. The eminent people were chosen from each khanda, that is district, to represent on their behalf in Vaji Gana Parishad. These representatives were called Gana Mukhyas. The chairman of the council was called Gana Pramukh. The other executives were Mahabaladi Krit, that means Minister of Internal Security, Vinishchya Matra, that is Chief Justice,
आज
and
रात
Danda Hikrit, etc. In a Sangha or in a Gana or a Sangha, there was not one but many rulers. These rulers met in assemblies and decided what had to be done through discussion and debate. Both Buddha and Mahavira belonged to Gana or Sanghas. Women, dasas, and karmakaras were not allowed to participate in these assemblies. Children, they are just telling you that Vaji, which was a Mahajanpada, it was made of several small Janpadas. And then there were grams, there were goshthas, that is groups. Now, from each gram and goshtha and every subdivision, one representative was added in the Vajigana Parishad. Clear? And they had various representatives who worked after, like Gana Pramukh was the head of the democracy, then Mahabala the Krit was the Minister of Internal Security, then Binishya Chaya Matya was the Chief Justice, and Dhandahikrit was a other justice in charges. Now, basically, Gana and Sangha, that is Gana or Sangha, they were there was only one, but there were many rulers in them. Okay, in this republican form of government. Now, these rulers they met in assemblies and decided upon the working. Okay, now most of them the religion of earlier times, that is the Buddha and the Mahavira. Buddha was the starter of the religion called Buddhism, and Mahavira, he started Jainism. Now, both of them belong to these ganas or sanghas. Okay. Now, women, dasas, and karmakaras were not allowed to be a part of these assemblies. Clear till here? Let's come on to the next page at the same time. Now, this you just have to read it, and nothing important is to be done from here. Now, in the same time, in other countries happening, it is dealing with that. About the same time, a civilization flourished in Greece. Two cities, Athens and Sparta, came up. Athens was democratic, and Sparta had a military setup. Athens was one of the earliest democracies, which lasted for 200 years. All freemen above the age of 30 were recognized as full citizens. The citizens
अब आज उड़ Ma'am, your voice is not coming clearly. Ma'am, your voice is lagging.
And your voice coming broken.
Ma'am, your voice is lagging.
Your voice is lagging.
Voice is Ma'am, ma'am, your
Ma'am, your mic is muted.
Ma'am, your mic is muted.
Unmute my mic. I'm not going to touch it now. If somebody has closed the mic, it is your duty to open it. I have not touched my mic. And today I think you are not in a mood to study. That is why you had wasted a lot of time. Now can you hear me? And am I not very clear to each one now? It is only that some of you are playing tricks. Shubh Mehrotra, there were two IDs present. Mariam, there were two IDs present. I removed one. Now, if you all keep trying, I will lock the group today only, and you will not be able to join it ever again. And I have got all the proofs that show that yes, you were doing all this. You can check my screen. I'm showing these images also. See, you can see Mariam has two IDs. Can you see this guest? I don't know who this guest is. No name. I'm going to remove all of you. Shubh Mehrotra, you were present with two IDs. I have removed one. I don't know if you are there or if you're not there. Shubh Mehrotra is there. See, he's joined also. And see this another ID.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, please remove the ID without ma'am, without the DP.
Okay. You are Shubh.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm sure.
Okay, Shubh, I'll do that. That is why I
Okay,
keep
ma'am.
telling you, at least keep me aware. Okay. So now the last part, let us quickly just go through it. So they tell you that
Ma'am, the ID which is not on this call. Ma'am, please
yes,
see.
I will remove. I got it.
Ma'am,
I'll do that. This call is
ma'am, that
getting
ID you
recorded. Please stop. This call is getting recorded, and I don't want these personal discussions. I've understood. Now, see, Athens was the city which was following democratic rule at that time when we were having Janpadas and Mahajanpadas in India. Athens and Sparta were in Greece, and these two cities flourished. One followed democracy, and the other had military rule. Only this much you need to know. Then, if they found anything which was against, they used to cast a vote and remove the particular case system which they did not like. And you can see the second last line. This art was called Ostracan. Now that was the same that we read. The pottery piece with the marked sign was used for voting. Now see again, you all are opening your mics. So with this, we end the chapter, and we will be taking up the multiple choice questions in our next class. Even if you have some other subject, we will still continue with history and finish off the marking of the question answers. Next time when we meet, we will be doing civics instead of geography. We will first take up. Am I clear? Am I clear? Now you'll not talk.
Network
Chalo,
connection.
I'm ending the call.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.